Hello, everybody. I'm Gerri Willis. The agency that spent nearly $1 million of taxpayer money partying it up in Las Vegas and $250,000 on one-day award ceremonies in D.C. wasted even more of our money. There may be at least 77 more questionable General Services Administration events on record. And now Fox News reporting the GSA apparently did not track spending for several conferences in the past 6 years. Republican Congressman John Mica of Florida and chairman of the Transportation Committee is looking into these events. He joins me now. What do you make of this? You're seeing 77 events. How bad is this? Is it like what we saw in Vegas with clowns and rap videos?
Well, the scandal is obviously widening. Now we have the Virginia scandal, a one-day conference in which $104,000 is paid to a consultant, $20,000 for drumsticks, $35,000 for picture frames, and now we have dozens and dozens more, a list that will be presented at our hearing tomorrow by the Inspector General of Conferences of questionable nature. So our committee staff and the Inspector General staff, investigative personnel, are all investigating what's taking place.
This is just unbelievable. This event in Crystal City, the drumming event that we've shown the video of so many times, there was also, according to Fox News' own reporting, some $3.6 million in financial awards, bonuses handed out to people. Some folks got as much as $1,000. What do you make of this?
Well, the bonus scandal has widened even further thanks to one media request, a Freedom of Information request. They asked
I think that was us.
Yeah, you all asked a slightly different question than our investigators, and lo and behold, another $30 million in bonuses. The amount of money in bonuses and overtime and taxpayers' money spent on some of these GSA administrators and employees will astound people when they hear what took place. That will be in the hearing tomorrow. I've seen some of it, and it really just means that we've got to get this agency and others under control that are wasting taxpayer money like this.
According to the information we have, last year, 2011, 87% of GSA employees got bonuses averaging $1,200 per recipient. Now, it's my thought that this is probably undeserved, seeing the previous practices of this agency. Do you think this is money that people deserved, or what are they doing there?
The $1,200 bonuses don't bother me. When you start hearing 50 and larger bonuses going to people who were involved in some of these activities that for which they've been removed, and others must be held accountable because of their poor performance, you will see in the hearing tomorrow an incredible pattern of abuse of taxpayer
$50,000. $50,000.
Yes. Well,
okay.
I don't even want to get into overtime. We got one guy whose base salary was $87,000. He got $115,000 in overtime. I mean, the agency from one end to the other needs a complete revamp. And we've been trying to get this information for a year and a half, week after week, and now some of it's flooding out.
Okay, so this is outrageous, and I'm glad you're bringing it to light. I'll look forward to all the details, but let me ask you this. Okay, you're making this public. This happened in the past. How are we going to keep this from happening again in the future?
Well, that's a very important question. First of all, we want to find out what took place. We want to hold people accountable. And then you're right, we need to make certain this doesn't happen again. So we're going to try to change the law. One of the problems I've run in chairing this committee is GSA has now intimidated some of our witnesses from the private sector. The private sector can provide professional management for some of these resources. For example, the assets, the $1 billion worth that's at idle. And they've intimidated them, so we don't have them tomorrow as witnesses. But we're going to continue. We're not going to stop until we get this resolved and the law changed.
Well, Congressman, that begs a question. If your witnesses are being intimidated, are they being threatened with physical harm? I mean, what's going on?
Well, unfortunately, in this town, the biggest property owner in the world is the United States government. And almost all of these firms are doing business with the United States government. One after another, they've dropped out as witnesses. Then what we've had is we actually got rid of a tier, the guy in the hot tub and others, a whole host of administrators. Now I have a second tier of administrators that won't even show up tomorrow. Some are on vacation.
Because they're afraid for some reason.
Well, and one took medical leave last week. They don't want to appear before the committee. So they've set up a sacrificial lamb. But we aren't going to stop again until these abuses are fully investigated, people are held accountable, and we change the way the federal government in one of its most important agencies. This is an important agency. Procurement,
it is an important agency.
Property, and we've got to get it under control.
They're in charge of making sure that there's no corruption. They're not doing a very good job, are they? Congressman Mica, thanks for coming on tonight. We will be listening to that hearing. I can't wait. It should be fascinating. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you so much.
All right, you can't talk about government waste without talking about Solyndra. And today, more bad news for taxpayers. The bankrupt solar company will now only pay back about $24 million of the more than $500 million it owes the U.S. government and taxpayers. That's according to Dow Jones. And it also says Solyndra won't be paying back its private investors either. The reports are based on the company's Chapter 11 reorganization plan, and it's not surprising, but disappointing to be sure.